Here are 8 holistic wellness habits that can truly change your life. As a doctor of East Asian medicine, Asia has been concerned with longevity for thousands and thousands of years. And in fact, my opinion is, if you want to know how to live the longest and live well, look no further than the doctors of traditional Chinese medicine, because this has been their primary focus since the BC era. So what are these 8 wellness rituals and what can you do? Hey guys, I'm Dr. Alex Heyne, board licensed doctor of acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine and author of the health book Master the Day. So let's jump in. The first habit is looking at your tongue in the morning in the mirror. In general, there are a few different pieces that you'll notice if you look at your tongue in the mirror. For starters, the tongue body, like the actual meat of the tongue, may change color over time. That color can range from very, very pale, typically common in vegans and vegetarians, or it can be really dark crimson red, or even with a dusky kind of color to it. These two sides of the spectrum indicate what we call cold and deficiency, or excess and heat. And what this indicates is really what's going on in your body overall. For example, people's complexion, who tends to be very, very red and ruddy over time as they age, often have high blood pressure and high cholesterol. You will see this in the tongue as well. But from there, besides the tongue body itself, will often be the sides of the tongue. And a very common part that we see as an issue is what's called scalloping. So the scalloping of the tongue typically indicates a problem with fluid metabolism and digestion. And the scalloping is because the actual tongue is being waterlogged and pressed against the teeth, taking on their shape. Most often this indicates issues like food allergies. So look at your tongue first thing in the morning. So habit number 2 is drinking pu'er tea instead of certain kinds of coffee. Now I get it, it's hard to beat the aroma of coffee, but pu'er tea is something that has been prized in China and Asia for thousands of years. The specific health benefits, according to traditional Chinese medicine, are really more focused on treating dampness. Dampness being a lot of the pathological changes in the gut that result in bloating and gas and food sensitivities and SIBO. So pu'er tea is one of those things that you can drink in conjunction with coffee instead of coffee. But in general, there are probably a lot more health benefits to this and less side effects than drinking coffee daily. Now, while we're covering 8 wellness habits here, primarily from the field of traditional Chinese medicine, there are others I haven't included for healing and longevity. And actually, the first link below this video is for a free 7-day email series and a free quiz, which is basically the lost science of healing, according to traditional Chinese medicine. I've also put together a free quiz. Again, it's just the first link, dralexheyne.com/quiz, which is really a root cause quiz to figure out where a lot of your health symptoms are coming from. That quiz, we will go through meticulously the various organ systems and the various organ networks and really look at specifically what is the repeated reason you are having it. So make sure you download the free quiz. You'll also get the free 7-day email series, The Lost Science of Healing, and I think it'll help you a lot. Now, habit number 3 is eat according to the seasons. This is something that's sort of fallen out of favor as humans become more computer locked in. We live under these fluorescent lights. We eat the same foods every day. We don't change our routines based on the seasons. But ancient doctors have talked a lot about seasonal eating and the benefits of it. And even when you look at modern research, one of the most important aspects of eating seasonally is purely because you're eating a variety of foods. And the greater the variety of micronutrients and minerals and vitamins that you're getting from those foods. So a simple way to eat seasonally could look something like this. Let's say, for example, it's springtime. In spring, you want to focus on what we consider the liver organ network. And the foods good for that are light green foods, especially bitters, like sprouts, dandelions, and leafy greens. When we talk about the summer, we're often talking about the organ of the heart. What you want to do is eat foods that are basically cooling and prevent overheating. Foods like watermelon or cucumber or even lemon juice can be really good to have more of that cooling quality and cooling temperature. Now, when it comes to the autumn, we want to consume moistening foods to protect the lung. The fall is often where there's a lot of respiratory illnesses going around. So this involves things like pears, honey, pumpkin, some of those more root vegetables and root crops, sweet potatoes. We say lung is one of the main organs that relates to the fall. When it comes to winter, we want to consume warming foods. The winter relates to the kidneys in Chinese medicine. So you want to have more stews and bone broths, lamb and ginger and beef stroganoff, these kinds of more rich foods, because you really want to warm your bones up, This kind of seasonal quality, even if the seasons are irrelevant based on your lifestyle or where you live, it's still important because the diversity of foods, eating the colors of the rainbow, will often improve how many micronutrients you're getting, the variety and diversity, and also your microbiome. The fourth habit is practicing Qigong daily. You probably are familiar with breathwork, and I remember when I was living in China, it was the funniest thing seeing these old Chinese people in the park just doing like these weird repetitive motions all day long. Like this kind of thing, this like they're drawing a bow or extending one hand up and the other one down, tapping everywhere like this. All these bizarre motions I later learned were kinds of Qigong. And Qigong to me is like a more effective kind of breathwork. I mean, it is the original breathwork, to be candid, but because it utilizes these other aspects and it is more targeted towards certain kinds of conditions, doing Qigong for even just 10 to 15 minutes daily can have a lot of health benefits. Habit 5 is massaging certain kinds of acupressure points. These are inherently acupuncture points, but obviously, I don't recommend doing acupuncture at home and hurting yourself. Also, it's not legal if you're not licensed, but you can do acupressure on a lot of different parts of your body, and that will often improve some of the symptoms you may be having. So for example, one of the main benefits of acupressure for, let's say, digestion, if you're really prone to gas and a lot of bloating, and you're often having a food baby after meals, and it really just sits there in your gut, tap like this on either side of your belly button for 5 to 10 minutes, just while you're watching a show after eating. And by doing that, you're actually manually stimulating peristalsis in the intestines. So you are manually pushing your body to help digest things a little bit quicker, or at the very least, move them through your GI quicker. So these kinds of physical acupressure routines can be very, very good to improve functioning of like your digestive system. Another point is called yin tang, between the eyebrows. And massaging yin tang like this is often a very soothing way to fall asleep. You can also, if you've ever had a massage, having someone massage the brow, right? It starts in yin tang, goes along the brow, and then massages the temples. That can be a very, very soothing massage going against these bladder and gallbladder points here up in the temple area. Habit number 6 is following the Chinese body clock. We say that in traditional Chinese medicine, each organ basically has 2 hours of the day dedicated to it. And that's sort of the day where it does its daily processing, or the qi is in the channels or more in the organ at that time of day. What's interesting is that there definitely is a correlation with some biomedical symptoms here. But in general, one thing you want to do is there are 3 particular windows that are important for health. Now the first one is 7 to 9 a.m., which is the stomach. So we say that each organ system is most active at a certain time. So between 7 to 9 a.m., you want to be eating breakfast because that is a good time for the stomach. The next one is between 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is the time of the heart. So this is very good for important tasks, to really have your key work, hard work done before the afternoon, once the energy starts to slump. And then finally, 9 to 11 p.m. is the triple burner time. And this is really when you want to wind down for quality sleep. After 11 p.m. is more of like the liver time. And we say that the liver stores the blood. So in Chinese medicine, we say you want to be asleep between 10 and 11 and really getting up like around 6-ish if possible. So that being in bed before midnight is really viewed as very, very essential for good quality sleep. And even human growth hormone production is really highest in this window as well. Habit number 7 is drink warm water or warming teas. We say that temperaturely cool beverages, right, temperature-wise, like iced coffee versus hot coffee, have a much more negative effect on the GI than actually warm beverages. Really, clinically, it is true. You will see people who consume more cooler meals, like food out of the fridge, more irregular meals, like more smoothies, eventually typically do end up having GI problems more often than people who have warmed up meals. But having actual warm water in the morning, or herbal teas like ginger, licorice, or chrysanthemum, these will actually improve your digestion and circulation instead of worsen it. So we say cooling beverages are not good for the spleen pancreas. Now finally, habit 8, really try to find a way to express pent-up emotions and energy. So if you don't want to go to the gym, which is my number 1 pick, and if you don't want to go for a long walk after work, which is my number 2 pick, your third best option in my book is to actually do like shaking and tapping Qigong. The very act of jumping up and down and shaking is not only physical exercise, but it's also a way of discharging excessive nervous system activity. Just jumping up and down, 10 minutes, right? Close your eyes, shake. You will typically feel much, much better. Don't forget, guys, we've talked about 8 rituals here, and there are others we didn't talk about, and I've put them into a free email series called The Lost Science of Healing. It's the first link below this video, dralexheyne.com/quiz. And you will also get a free root cause quiz that goes into which of your symptoms are coming from where, and what can you do about it. So it will actually point you to other videos on the channel that will help you figure out how to figure out some of these key symptoms and figure out where those key symptoms are coming from as well. So check it out right below the video. And then if you want to work with me one-on-one, I work with a limited number of new patients via telemedicine or in person in my clinic in Los Angeles. So you can just check the information below this video or go to dralexheynen.com/clinic, and that will have information on calling or booking a visit with me. Again, one-to-one is really the only way that we do custom compounded herbal formulas. And also, the most targeted advice will come from a one-to-one session. Don't forget, guys, I have one other list of good wellness habits that will help you, and it's right up here.